Hey, happy Friday. How you going? Christine Burke coming here. And I just want to hop in and share with you 3 mind-blowing tips around things that are probably stopping you from maybe taking the next step with something. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's stepping out, being more powerful on social media, whatever it is for you. These are mind-blowing and they're mind-blowingly simple. Maybe they're things that you've heard before, but maybe I'm going to talk about them in a way that you haven't thought about it before. But I love sharing stuff about mindset because, I've been on a journey of personal growth, a deep personal growth for the last 10 years. And it is really the most valuable. It is the most, it is the thing in my life that I've gotten the most from, maybe besides parenting, maybe besides mothering. Besides that has been the work that I've done on myself. And the work you do in yourself will always be your best work, right? It'll always be your best work. So if you're hopping on, I want to say hi. I want to know where you're listening in from and tell me, if do you agree with that? I mean, your best work that you will ever do, besides possibly being a parent, if you're strong in your parenting game or your mothering game, your best work will always be the work that you do in yourself. Absolutely. And it is the foundation for anything, right? And so I just want to come in here and share 3 tips with you. Maybe this will help you. If you are building a business, if you have team, if you find this, the stuff that I talk about here valuable, I do have a free community. You can hop in there at any time. I talk about this stuff all the time. Okay. So let's dive in. So tip number 1 is the mind-blowing realization that's holding you back is procrastination, right? And procrastination is something that I think for many of us is so deeply ingrained in our everyday that sometimes we don't always stop to think about, well, hold on a second, why am I avoiding this or why am I not doing this, right? And I had an incredible quantum healing session with my friend Karen yesterday, and it was absolutely incredible. I can't recommend her enough. So if you're interested in having quantum healing with somebody who is really, really crushing their game around this, please let me know or just put quantum healing below because I just love to promote her. Anyway, so we had a session yesterday. It was really awesome. And I got to thinking about, these things that I'm sort of avoiding, right? Like things that are things that have happened to me in my past. Good morning. Things that have happened to me in my past that I've kind of buried, I'm not addressing them and they are affecting my everyday life, right? And so often procrastination are things that are affecting our everyday life, right? But here's the thing, right? Sometimes we complicate stuff like this, but procrastination is really simple. It's actually quite simple. It's it's your mind telling you to do the things you want to do in order to avoid the things you don't want to do, right? That's all it is, right? And on the surface, it's quite simple. It's basically your mind saying, no, we don't want to do that. This feels uncomfortable. This is much more comfortable. It's a survival mechanism in our brain that's been implanted there for centuries, right? It's a thing that helps us get away from lions, tigers, and bears, right? It is the thing. That is a normal, natural part of our physiology. Okay. And so a tip is how do we start to change this? So the first thing that we all want to do, and I've been doing a lot of this lately, is catching yourself. You want to just start catching yourself and say, hold on a second, wait, I'm procrastinating. And just noticing things, y'all, is so powerful because most people go through their lives, their entire lives, and they don't even notice. They don't notice the opportunity to change the way they think. They don't notice the opportunity to do something different, right? This is why working on ourselves is the best work we'll ever do, right? And so just noticing is huge, right? If you can create a trigger for yourself. So one thing that I learned a long time ago, this is a hair elastic, but if you use an actual rubber band, right, bang it, ooh, it hurts, right? It hurts. So creating triggers around your procrastination so that you actually start noticing things is very, very valuable. Okay. And then the other thing that we can do for sure is carve some time out of your day and start thinking about what it is that you really want. Like, what is it that you really want in your life? Again, most people don't have a vision for their life, right? Like Jim Rohn says, they're on a boat and there's a sail on the boat, and the sail is being driven by the winds of change, the winds of economics, the winds of politics, and they're literally just going along with the winds, which are on everyone, right? Not just you, not just me. The winds of all of that stuff are on everyone. So it's our job to get intentional about what we really want. And how is this helping procrastination? Well, if you've got like a bullseye around what you really want, and you've got a vision around what you want, it's going to help you start to create the motivation, which only comes from within, by the way. It doesn't come from YouTube videos. That's inspiration, right? Hey, Alicia. So motivation only comes from within you, right? I can't motivate you. Maybe I inspire you. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can support you, but I can't motivate you, right? But if you have a vision on your life and you have some idea of what you really want while you're on here on this planet, right? It's going to help you significantly start to notice that procrastination, right? And say, well, hold on a second. If that's what I really want, maybe I just need to like stop for a second, right? And do the thing, right? And always baby steps, right? Okay, that's number one. So number two is, this is really cool. I was looking at a live that I did on this topic a few months ago, and I was talking about the voice, right? So like, we've all got voices in our heads, right? It's okay. It doesn't mean like you're, whatever. I don't want to be politically correct. It doesn't mean you have, serious mental things going on. Okay. I won't even go there. Anyway, so we all have voices in our heads, right? Okay. And we actually have three. There are three voices that you need to pay attention to, right? So the first voice in your head, okay, is your subconscious voice, right? It's based on your programming. It's back there. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. You failed before. Your family told me you were worthless, or maybe you were with a spouse who was, abusive, verbally, physically, whatever it is, right? So the first voice is that subconscious voice there, right? But we can change that, right? We can change it, but it's sort of running on autopilot all the time. That's the first voice. The second voice, okay, is the voice you hear when you speak, right? That's a different voice. So the voice that I hear when I speak, right? The voice that oftentimes will come from that empowered place that you have in your soul, in your heart, in that part of your brain, right? I call it the voice versus the noise, right? The subconscious is the noise. The voice is your empowered part of you, right? Again, you need to foster that, y'all. You need to get in there and nurture that and love it and bring it out. This is why at the beginning I said personal development work is the best work that you will ever freaking do, okay? And so, but there is a third voice, okay? And this is really interesting, right? When you think about it. So the third voice is the voice that you hear, is the voice that other people hear when you speak, right? And so this is really interesting because we absolutely need to understand that when we speak to someone else, or even on here, right? So some of you are on here watching, right? And maybe you're hearing something totally different. You're hearing a voice of mine that's totally different. But here's the thing. The voice that other people hear is based on their stuff. Is based on their, empowering beliefs, or their limiting beliefs, or their religious beliefs, or their political beliefs, or, all the stuff they have going on, right? And it's so important to understand this, y'all. That's like be on your radar, because so many people get taken out of their best game based on what other people think that they're saying, or how other people are taking their stuff, or, how other people are reacting to what we are saying. Isn't that something to consider, right? So we always have to understand that everyone's coming from their own perspective, right? Everyone's coming from their own perspective, which is layered with their subconscious programming. Right? And that is why when you go on a journey of self-development, personal development, maybe it's entrepreneurship, you start honing in on your vision. That is why you will be attracted to the people who are hearing that empowered voice of what you're saying. Does that make sense? Right? That's why I'm attracted to being with the people that I hang out with, which is small. Right now. It's small, partly because I just moved to a new town and I know some people, but I am so protective now about who I hang around with and who I allow into my orbit, because I know that most people out there, and this isn't me being negative, I'm a very, very positive person, right? But a lot of people out there, they are operating with really severe limiting beliefs. Right? And so that's not part of my deal, right? And so that is one of the side benefits of you working on yourself, getting into an empowered community, is that people will hear you and they will hear that voice of yours that's empowered, and they will resonate with that, right? They won't be layering everything that you're saying with their poo-poo caca. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so 3 voices is not really cool. And so a tip here is I did a 5-day immersion leadership training years ago when I lived in Australia with a guy named David Wood. There's 2 popular David Woods. This is David T.S. Wood. Anyway, I haven't seen him for ages, but he is an amazing individual. Anyway, he was talking, we did a deep dive on the whole voice thing, right? And so I learned how to, okay, and we all have that voice that you can, if you actually stop for a minute, you can hear the subconscious voice, right? And again, some people are on this autopilot and they don't even hear it. But so he taught us how to start recognizing that autopilot subconscious voice of defeat, right? And to actually name it. So I named mine. She is called Betty the Beater. Isn't that a great name? Betty the Beater. Maybe it should be Karen the Beater, but it's Betty the Beater. And he taught us to start really stop and recognize and hear it and name her, because when you can do that and take notice of that and actually say, Betty, stop, Betty, I'm not listening to you, Betty. That is huge. That is a massive leap, so that you can, this is the noise, right? Old hag. Yeah, because she's annoying. Yeah. So you can start quietening Betty the Beater and start saying, Betty, you have no place here, Betty. Okay, I'm going to focus on my voice, my empowered voice, Christine, that vision that I'm creating, right? So that's a tip there. And then lastly, third is you can create, or you can have, and I am definitely not, legit. I am not a professional in this yet. Again, there's so many different layers and levels of mastery in your life. It's crazy, but isn't it exciting that the journey will always continue? Isn't it exciting that there's no end, I made it, I'm done, I'm all good, And what does that tell us? That tells us that the human mind, soul, body is capable of so much more than we're capable of. Yesterday when I was doing this session with Karen, it was called the 12 strands of DNA, that most people are only actually using around 3. Anyway, I don't want to digress, but it was so amazing. So here's the deal. So even if you're in the worst place possible, right? And I get uncomfortable talking about this sometimes because I really do feel blessed in my life. I've had some, traumatic things happen. I've had some, some challenges, some real challenges with myself and challenges with other people in my life. But, I feel uncomfortable talking about this because I know there are people out there who have experienced serious trauma, horrible things, right? And even people that I don't necessarily know. We can all think of people in the news, or mentors, or famous people in history who I always think of oh my God, I'm having a complete Nelson Mandela is often who I think of first, right? People who have like had some real challenges, right? But the lesson that I'm trying to say here is that, you know, regardless of the challenging situations that we're in, we can always find a place of abundance mindset. Like, isn't that hopeful? Isn't that promising? Isn't that something that we can try and aspire to? So in other words, you can be in a serious rock and a hard place and there still be a silver lining. There still can be something to be grateful for, right? Because gratitude is everything, right? When you're in a state of gratitude, everything else falls away. Right? Try it. Seriously, like sit there and think about being grateful for something. You cannot, it's impossible physiologically, really, for you to be in a bad spot in your head, right? And so just imagine if we could start practicing gratitude and a mindset of abundance, regardless of anything, right? Imagine like how powerful would that be if you went through your life and there was always a silver lining. There was always something good, right? And there's actual science behind this. I did a lot of work with a guy named John Demartini years ago, and he talked about the whole, you know, I'm like not a science person, but the whole like chemical charges of negative and positive, right? And so like nothing is ever fully negative or fully positive, right? And the state of love, of being in love and abundance 100% is when we balance the two, is when we can be in a state where this is good and this is also bad, or it's positive, it's like positive and negative charges, right? And when they'll come together and balance out, that is a full state of love, so that we know, like, you know, because what happens when we think something is like all 100% perfect, right? The universe will come in and go, boom, no, it's not. I'm gonna challenge you on that, right? And then oftentimes when we're in a very low place, right, the universe will come in and say, oh, but look at this good thing that's going on, right? So being an abundance mindset, you can still be an abundance mindset even though life seems like totally crap and shit, right? Even feels like the whole world is falling on top of you. And again, I never want to assume with anyone, because I know, like, there's some crazy stuff going on there. Anyway, those are my 3 tips. If you like this kind of mindset talk, I do a lot of trainings. I've got some mindset challenges that I've run in my private community. If you want to hop in there and you are female, I would love to have you in there. I'm just about to go live right now and do my free Coaching Friday training. I can't even remember what I'm doing it on, but I'm doing something. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, Brian, and we'll see you all next week. See you guys. Bye.